Hey folks, well, as promised, I decided to get a little bit more work done on the Jeep today. Put the nitro trucks away for now. The weather kind of turned sour, a little bit cold, a little bit of rain and snow, so can't run them for a while. And then also got electric vehicles to run anyhow. But the plan for this video is try to get some of the electronics sorted out. I'm not sure what electronics I'm going to run for speed controller and motor, but I'll dig out some options and show you and go from there. Well, I've dug through some of my equipment that I'm not really using in other stuff, and here's what I have come up with. Pretty much decided to go brushless with lipo, just because. I do have the option to go brushed, because I do have a little atom here, a good little speed controller that I could use. Problem with that is no reverse, so it's probably going to forget about that one, but I'm going to use this as a receiver, so a little Spectrum small receiver, because I'm not going to have a ton of room in that beast to mount stuff, so I figure definitely going to run this, and I can use my Airtronics M11 radio with the Spectrum module in it to operate, so that'll be good. Now for speed controllers, got an original Castle Sidewinder, not a bad speed controller. This is one of the first ones, and even though I have the Castle link here, for some reason I can't connect to this. It's like there's a problem with the firmware. It runs fine, but I have to program it based on the old school methods. There's really no way to program it. So I've got that, or I've also got a Tiken RS Pro that I had bought when I was doing the on-road racing. Better speed control, much better speed controller than that. This one will only do, I think, 2-cell LiPo. This one will do 3, handle more current and as well, so better motor. And it's also quite a bit more compact. So pretty much think I've also got the can't remember what the programming thing is for the Tiken, what they call it, but I've got that as well, so I can hook it up to the computer. So I think I'll put everything I'm going to use over here. I think I'll use that for now. Now for motors, I've got a couple options. Being that it's a trail truck, I don't necessarily need to have it crawling at a super low rate. I want some speed to it, so I've got a Novak Ballistic 10.5, which I'm thinking is probably a little overkill. I've also got an older, like a 17.5, so I'll probably start out with this, hoping to maybe have a little more torque, and I can gear it down too for get some decent speed, but not to be overpowering. Nice option is I can just try either or and see which works. I think I'll start with that one. I've got a BC, which I'm not sure if I'll need or not. We'll see how it goes. Probably the steering will be alright without it, so I'll keep that aside for now. And I've got a couple different packs here. This is a older Thunder Power 2-cell 2100. It's only 15C or 24C burst, so it's an older pack, but probably be alright. I've also got this Great Hobbies. It's a little bit, you can see here, a little bit smaller, a little bit taller, but a little bit smaller. It's only 1800, so that might work alright, but I don't know if I have the capacity to last for very long. I've also got a 3-cell, a little thicker, 3-cell 2100, more speed, about the same capacity runtime as this one, but get 33% more speed out of it. I think I've got it hanging. Here it is. Oh. Haven't opened this one up yet. This was originally going to be for a receiver pack, but it's another 2100 2-cell, so you can see it's actually the same brand as the other one, but it's got a little bit more of a C rating, so to be honest I could keep this as a receiver pack maybe and try this one, but, or the other option is to go with just a standard size pack, but I'm just concerned about space, so let's take the shell off of that and take these components and see what'll fit where. You come out to help me, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
What are we working on today?
A remote control Jeep.
Yeah, we're going to try to put the motor and that in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just checking to see where everything will fit. So, I took a look at this. I haven't even taken the body off yet, but I'm thinking, I don't want to have, looking at the back underside, you can see I have a lathe motor in there already, but I'll probably take that out. Or obviously take that out so that I can put the brushless in, but I see another problem I might have. If the brushless is too long, it might hit the cab a bit, but we'll see. Maybe I'll run the lathe motor with the RS Pro or try a different speed controller. See how she goes. But the plan, I don't want to mount the batteries anywhere in here. Well, the battery might go back here. I might be able to squeeze it up in here somehow. Figure that out. Up out of the way. And for the electronics, I'm thinking there's plenty of room under the hood. Might even be able to get the battery in there too, laid on its side. But I think I might make a vertical plate that, sorry for the shaky footage, but vertical plate that kind of mounts between those two frame rails. Use those existing holes, and I can just use some servo tape to mount the speed controller and receiver right up in there. Should work out good. So let's peel this body off and see if we can make a plate. Well, after some investigation, decided I can fit one of my two cell hard packs right underneath here, and it'll be protected good. I'll probably just have to use some servo tape or figure out maybe some Velcro straps, but then I have to cut through the seats, so figure it out. But I don't know if you can see, it's hard, can't really see under there, but there's just a tick of clearance between the transfer case and the battery, so that'll work out good. I also got lucky. The brushless motor just fit in there. It's almost touching, but I could clearance this if I had to, which I may for the wires, to run the wires. And then as stated, I'm going to make a firewall. So almost going to be a firewall that mounts into these holes here, and that'll give me a place to mount my speed controller and my receiver. Alright, well, I got my brackets kind of temporarily mounted in. You can see some clearance issues.
I'm still helping.
Yeah, you're still helping, yep. There's going to be some clearance issues with some screws here with the shocks, but I'll get that sorted out. So I got my styrene piece, a couple holes in it, and I've drilled a couple holes in here as well, and I'm going to do something that I don't think I've ever seen done before on a build. I'm going to use pop rivets to hold it in. Well, there you go, folks. Got the 4 pop rivets in. Got myself a nice spot to mount some electronics. Because I made this out of styrene, I can drill a few holes here and there, clearance or whatever, to run wires through to get the motor and whatnot wires through. It's going to be a little bit tricky to mount or to figure all that out because I'm using brushless. I'm going to have to run 3 wires, but I'm not going to run a heavy gauge wire. But there you can see, there's got myself a speed controller, receiver, and room for the DEC if I wanted it, or if I decided to run the Sidewinder, slap it in there and put the receiver, and still plenty of room. Alright, it's working out really good. I'm happy with this. That's what I liked about this hobby. You can customize things, and I like to do these custom kind of projects. When I say custom, I don't mean just buying a bunch of parts and bolting them on and that sort of thing, but actual one-off kind of work like I'm doing here. I had to fabricate stuff and make it all work. But I'm going to do some soldering now. I'm going to do the wires from the motor to the speed controller, the power wires. I'm going to use my trusty Hakko soldering iron and some good 6337 solder and some flux. Now, I always use flux. There's a fellow on YouTube who's channel you may be familiar with, and he claims to be a NASA certified soldering guy, and he says you shouldn't use flux because it's corrosive, which is a load of crap. I went to school, electronics engineering, and we did quite a bit of soldering and courses on it, and flux makes the solder flow better because it even with clean metal you get oxidization that happens right away with air, and the solder takes care of that. Now the flux takes care of that by kind of cleaning it. Anybody that's familiar with welding, same thing applies with welding, either with flux core wire where it's built in, or shielding gas. The shielding gas does the same thing. It cleans the metal and keeps the oxidization away while you're doing the weld. So I don't know, he claimed that the only thing flux is there for is for heat transfer, but I had a little bit of a discussion on YouTube comments with him, and said I disagreed with him. And if you look on the internet, and all these sources say otherwise, but go figure. The comments got deleted after that, because I don't know if he looked up online and realized that he was making a bit of a fool of himself or what. But in any case, I'm just cleaning off the old solder, and then use a solder sucker, suck all that old stuff out of there. Get a nice clean post to start from again. That'll be alright. Now you can see I'm actually adding solder in before I remove it, because it's actually the solder that helps with the heat transfer. So that's all pretty clean. That side, actually I might as well take these battery wires off as well, because they're too short. Heat transfer there. So you always, that's what I got this thing for, to clean the tip and then apply fresh solder. I'm going to turn the soldering iron just a smidgen. Not quite hot enough. So you put that new solder on, because then that promotes the heat transfer into the rest of the wire. So you always want to start with a clean tip, and I guess that's what she said, but start with a clean tip, add solder to it. It's called pinning the tip, so that the heat transfers through. I'm going to take off a bit of this. That's ready to go for when I do the battery. Now go into these three posts. You see a little bit of excess solder on there as well. The flux will help flow that out. Now unfortunately I don't have my decent wire, so I'm going to end up having to use this cheap Princess Auto stuff for now. It's a 16 gauge wire. It's not nearly as flexible as the hobby grade stuff, but being that this wire's not going to move at all, it's going to be good enough for now. And once I figure out where my good wire is, I will replace them. I'm going to need 3 wires. Brushless motors use 3 wires, censored or sensorless. So I got some black. Cut off this kink. These are also handy, these electrician snips. They look like scissors, but they're actually meant to cut wire. The same way. Cut them to length afterwards, so I don't have too much excess. Black, yellow, and red is what I got, so that'll work just fine. There's kink as well. Now this is a 16 gauge wire. It's going to be good enough for the current draw that I'm going to see with this truck. Not in a racing situation, so it'll work just fine. Now the next step, I'm actually thinking before I solder this stuff on, so I have the clearance, I'm going to pop a hole through here to allow the wires to come in from the back side, away from the spur gear, and down to the posts. I'm just going to get my one drill with the uni-bit on it. If you drill a lot of holes, one of these is a handy bit to have. See, there's some cutting fluid on it. I'm going to clean it off first. The old brake cleaner from Canadian Tire. Said in the previous post or previous video, you get the non-chlorinated stuff. About $6 a can. It works good. There's motor spray, cleaner, degreaser, and this particular stuff. It dries pretty quick, doesn't really leave much of a residue, so I've been using it for years. Now I'm just going to take it up fairly high. The sensor wire will come through here too. And then these step drill bits, you just keep going until you get the size you need. I think 4 will work. Get rid of that mess. Come in on the back side. This could be buried a bit. Now, what I'll do is the sensor wire will go through no problem, and 3 of the power wires, and then I'll do some tie wraps to keep it all out of the way. Well, I got wires all soldered on. Including some pigtails here for the batteries. I still got to mount the Dean's connector, but I think I'm going to shut her down for the night. And unfortunately I missed some footage because I was using that camera as a secondary video camera, but unfortunately I think the video card or the memory card was full and I didn't realize it, so I thought it was recording and it wasn't. But oh well, that's how she goes. You can see here I got everything soldered on good. Show you kind of what a good decent solder joint looks like. I don't know if it'll focus. You don't want to have too much of a glob of solder on. You always want to be able to kind of still make out the profile of the wire. You can kind of see in the back maybe a little more. You can see how it still looks like a wire, but you get where a bit of a fillet on the side, but not a big glob. So it's really all you need. Worked out good, and that's because of using flux. And you also want to make sure that the joint looks quite shiny, because if it looks dull, that means that you've got a cold solder joint, which means it's a bad connection. It was probably wire was moving while the solder was hardening. But yeah, this is working out good. Got all the wires through there. I can tie this one up, figure out where I'm going to mount the on-off switch, throw the battery on the bottom there. I might Velcro that on and see how things fit tonight, but we'll see. Need some time to edit this video and post it anyhow, but I think it's gonna work out really good. I'm happy so far. Maybe next time around we'll get some running footage. Anyhow, hopefully I'll get another video posted here pretty soon, maybe the next couple days, depending on how things go. I have time to come out and work on this some more, but and regardless how long it takes, the next video will be a rough running video, just showing that everything is working the way it should. Anyhow, talk to you later.